Hi folks, it's Matt here with the Gadget Guy channel. I'm without my trusty sidekick today, Gizmo. He's actually out of town with my daughter currently. So he won't be here to assist me in my video today, but I think we'll make do. Today I wanted to cover a topic that was initially confusing to me, and I've actually got a lot of IT experience career-wise, but I just didn't have familiarity with the topic, and that is when you have a device like, for instance here, my old EEE PC, and it doesn't have an HDMI output, it just has a VGA output. And for the longest time I wanted to be able to connect it up to TV or a monitor, a newer monitor that only had an HDMI input, and I couldn't. And so to contrast that, I also have my micro PC here that I purchased just a few months ago. It's been both very useful devices for me. And it only has a HDMI output, and I cannot use it straight out of the box with an old VGA style monitor. So it's kind of the opposite problem. And a long time ago I picked up one of these, which is an HDMI to VGA converter, HDMI at this end and VGA at the other. I was actually of the mistaken opinion that I could use this bi-directional. So for my netbook over here, I thought I could just use a VGA cable and connect it in here, and then I could connect this into my monitor or TV, and then that would work, and it doesn't. And so so the bottom line is, like in the case of this guy, an HDMI to VGA converter, that's it. It only goes one way. So if you have a computer like the micro PC over here, I can take this converter cable and plug it into the HDMI output, and then take a VGA cable, connect it to this end, and connect it to my old style monitor, and I'm good. But that still leaves me with the opposite problem with the EEE PC, going from VGA to HDMI, and just in the past week or two I bought a conversion cable from Amazon, and I actually purchased what was the least expensive converter cable, but it had really good reviews. It actually doesn't even have a name brand on it. I guess that's just how affordable it is. But I'll put the item number and so forth down in the description area for anybody who might be interested in the same product. But I'll just go ahead and pull it out here. Obviously I haven't tried it out because I just opened it, but you'll see that there's a little bit more involved with going in this direction. HDMI, the HDMI standard, it transmits video and audio over the same cable, and it does so digitally. And the opposite, VGA and regular sound out of, say your headphone jack on your laptop, those are analog signals. So going from, in this case, the HDMI to VGA converter, going from digital to analog is a whole lot easier, apparently, than going from analog to digital, and that's why there's more cables. So this analog audio cable plugs into the headphone jack of my EEE PC, and then this obviously connects to the VGA output, and those two items are combined inside this little converter box, and they create a single HDMI output. And so video and sound separately combined into one signal here that's digital output. And one other thing that's involved in going this direction, I need to plug like a micro USB cable in here to provide power, because in converting from analog to digital, there's more power necessary. So, and I guess the other cable, the HDMI to VGA, it's getting its own power from the HDMI signal. So anyway, so a lot more involved, and then they did include the micro USB cable that I need to provide power to the VGA to HDMI converter. I just need to provide the other end, so just like a cell phone charger, or really just plug it into an open USB slot on my EEE PC. So we're going to go ahead and try it out here. Just to show you the normal way these things go. So my EEE PC with the VGA output, I have a VGA cable connected to my monitor. So when I plug it in to the normal VGA output on the monitor, I'm going to get just my normal VGA output. And so there you go. So that's typical, and that's just the simple VGA coming out of the EEE PC to the VGA input on the monitor. And then likewise, so let me disconnect that. I also have an HDMI cable connected to this monitor. And then my micro PC over here, it has an HDMI output, no VGA. And so I can just plug this HDMI cable into the micro PC, and it's already connected to the monitor. And then, as expected, it works just fine. So the VGA output from the EEE PC to the VGA input on the monitor, obviously no problem. And the same way, the HDMI output from the micro PC works fine with the HDMI input of the monitor. So all that's as expected. But now we want to switch things up a bit. So we want the micro PC that only has HDMI to work with VGA, and we want the PC that only works with VGA to now work with HDMI. So we have the hardware that we need. We'll start with the easier one first, the micro PC. We'll disconnect the HDMI cable. So with the micro PC, we take the HDMI end of the HDMI to VGA converter, plug it into the HDMI output, and then at the other end of the cable, the VGA end, we just take the VGA cable from the monitor, plug it in, and it does the conversion for us, and we'll communicate with a VGA input. Typically that's again going to be like a legacy monitor. On this monitor, it just so happens that they included the legacy VGA input, but it has the more recent HDMI, so, and which we're about to now test with the EEE PC. So again, in this case, we just took the HDMI cable, plugged it into the HDMI output, and it converts it to VGA in the box. Plug the VGA cable in, and then the other end into the legacy monitor, and everything works just fine. So that's the simplest case. But again, remember, this converter only works in this one direction, so HDMI to VGA. So now we have the opposite end of the spectrum, so we want to go VGA to HDMI. So we have a few more things to plug in here. So we have the VGA output of the EEE PC that we plug into. So let's see if we can get that on camera. So we just plug him in there. We want to transmit audio also, so we take the audio cable, which would figure that on this machine my audio input's on the complete other side. Let's see what the best way is. Well, we're not going to use it this way, but we're just going to demonstrate it this way for now. So we're going to put it into the headphone output of the EEE PC. And then, so we have the end over here that's converting to HDMI, but he needs power in order to do it. So we'll take this other cable that they gave me, and we'll plug it into an open USB slot over here on the side. And we'll plug that into, let's see where it is. Oh, it's back here. So they have the micro USB input over here for the power. Let's see, what am I doing wrong? I've got it upside down. Okay, so now in theory, what I should get out of this end is a HDMI output. So let's disconnect the VGA cable from the micro PC, and we'll use this HDMI input to the monitor. And let's see what we get. Alright, so that's plugged in, and let's see. Let's wake up my Triple-E PC, and it's working. Okay, great. I thought I might have to reshoot this if it didn't work and figure out what was wrong, but it's working just fine. So again, I need to reroute the cables so that it's a more usable setup, because I don't want to try to use my Triple-E PC with a wire across the keyboard. So I'll figure that out. You know, it's a little bit more tangle of wires, but it's just a totally different concept to go in this direction from VGA to HDMI. So word to the wise for those, you know, again, that think you can just take this simple cable that we have on the micro PC and use it in both directions. You cannot. So the takeaway from here is you need to buy a special cable depending upon which direction you want to convert. So again, I'll put a link down in the description to each of these cables so you get a feel for exactly which cable you need for your specific application. But again, a successful test. These cables can be very handy when wanting to convert from the one format to the other. So that's it for this video. Hopefully I'll have Gizmo to help me out in the next video. I've actually got one of the next products I want to open over here on the table. It's the Lenovo 14W laptop that I got on Cyber Monday for $129, and not a gaming rig by any means, but a good PC, and for $129 I think it's going to be a very good deal, but we'll wait for Gizmo on that one. But for this video we're done, and thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, please post them down in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. Have a great day. Take care.